What's good, y'all? What's the word? Hey, God bless each and all, especially everybody that, is out here just trying to make it like the rest of us without any ill will towards others, man. God bless you and yours, even your enemies, man, that they can get a, a good line of vision, man, and leave you the hell alone. Um, Thank you for joining me today. We're going to get into this, into a little commentary, my personal opinion and analysis on the information given from all parties involved on this Breakfast Club interview with Monique. Those that have been following the story know that Monique came out, criticized Netflix. We all know that Charlemagne has a segment where he gives people something called Donkey of the Day, where he reports on the sometimes idiotic or the disagreeable things that the people that he's giving that title to um, recently go through. Uh, my reason for doing this, first of all, let me explain what's up with me. Uh, I take pride in trying to be fair. Never once have I ever said I was perfect. Never once will I ever say that I'm perfect. You get what I'm saying? Um, Not before, nor now, nor ever will I ever claim that. Um, I do have a strong Christian belief system, but I am open minded to knowledge. Um, I have not always been right. I might not even be right now, but one thing I will always be is fair. And this commentary that I'm doing is going to be geared towards. Well, I'll tell you in a little bit. What I'm going to tell you right now is um, people in our community. It's every community, every culture, every race. But since I am of the African American um, ethnicity, Black American, whatever you want to call me, um, that is the culture that I'm more in tuned with, and I have gone throughout my life just noticing our community. Um, we joan so much, we roast, we snap on people so much to where it becomes a way of life, a law almost. And things like things to where people entertain us can make us grow fond of them and follow them almost as fans. And they can be rude to others, and we find a way to defend them. You got the Beehive for Beyonce. People can come out and say something and critique of Beyonce, and they'll jump down those people's throat that have said it. You know what I'm saying? When the people might have had a valid point. At the very least, the people who are jumping down the throat, who are part of that fan base, are way worse people than the people they criticizing, who said a critique of her. But she can't do wrong in their eyes because she is their end all be all. Now, if she puts something in, tweets out something, or has an interview and says something, if she puts it out in the world, it can almost become law. That's the power. When you hear Farrakhan talking to the rappers about um, pastors and preachers and leaders of churches can't get the attention of the community the way that some of these entertainers can. He has a point because it was different back in the day. You might say something, nobody cared. You say something now, they don't only not care, but they put it, tattoo it on their arm if they can. So just want to get that out about being fair. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the angle I'm coming from. Let's get into this video.
You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Good morning. And before we get into it completely, I want you all to please watch the video beforehand, the entire video, the entire interview, then come watch mine. For one thing, all rights belong to Breakfast Club, Revolt TV, or whoever this material belongs to. I'm just commentating on it. I'm not here trying to take any kind of credit for producing this. Um, but yeah, look at it all the way, because what tends to happen if you see my video first is, when I'm dragging through sentences trying to get my point across clearly, you could be sitting there, you could have heard her say a question or something, and I pause it and say something, and you're like on the edge of your seat waiting to hear what she has to say. Well, can't wait till I get done saying what I'm saying, because you're like, man, hurry the hell up so I can hear what she got to say, which is understandable. The best thing to avoid that as much as possible is to go and hear the interview first prior to that, then come back and see if you can share any thoughts after seeing it the way I am sharing my thoughts. Okay.
Morning, good morning, my loves. Good morning. How you doing, sis? Let's call with love. Let's call with love. Let's call with love. Baby. Good morning. I'm wonderful. I am wonderful. How you doing, sister?
Showing love.
You
Keep
good?
that
Somebody
energy.
get on up and hold on to me. Come
Keep
on,
that energy.
gorgeous.
Keep that energy really for all of them, but Charlemagne is the main one. Um, but yeah, his famous lines is keep the energy. His other famous line is, even if you got the truth, people don't want to hear it. If a lie is more entertaining, they rather hear that. I didn't word it the way he words it, but I know exactly what he's saying, and that is truth spoken from that man when he says that. He ain't lying. He's totally right. Nobody cares about the truth when the lie is more entertaining. Now, that leads me to, I'm glad I paused it at this point, because before we go, and I promise I'll make this short, before we go any further, understand her and this Netflix thing is a whole nother story within itself. That is not what I'm making a commentary about today on here. Yes, the 70% of the conversation will be the Netflix argument, her explaining her side and stuff like that. I cannot completely speak on that fairly because I have never heard Netflix side of it. They have been quiet through this whole process. There's Now I need to do more research, I admit, because there possibly could be a public statement put out, maybe through a representative or some letter or tweet or something like that. But I haven't come across it or heard of it existing. However, this video that I'm doing right now is only to address the problem I have with Charlemagne and his donkey of the day. Well, his commentary period against people that he doesn't like. It's all right that he doesn't like people. It's all right that he criticizes people. It's all right that he speaks on somebody's that's in the public eye on their business. But what he tends to, let me make it even more clear as I get into this. He is not a journalist where you're unbiased and you report. He is a host, an entertainer. That's the difference. Now, people that don't care about that kind of stuff, they take his word for law because they consider him a reporter, just like the news. If the newsman on your local news channel at 9 o'clock p.m. comes on and he says there was a murder on 15th Avenue, you take it for face value and say he's not telling a lie because it can be proven, reviewed. He's a journalist reporting. He's a reporter. This is the difference between him and Charlemagne. Charlemagne is telling you his opinion on things. And I'm sure time to time, if there was a murder, let's say Ray Charles got murdered tomorrow. Yes, rest in peace, Ray Charles. World, I know he's already rest in peace. I'm not finna put that curse on nobody that's alive. So let's say Ray Charles dies tomorrow and he got on there and say, yeah, America, we lost Ray Charles today. That's not his opinion, that's fact. And yes, that would be journalistic. That would be reportative, but that's not what I'm speaking on. He's on Donkey Today. He's usually telling you his opinion on things. Somebody robbed the bank and then got caught at McDonald's next door to it buying a slushie. He's gonna report on it, and it's a factual event, but he's gonna put opinion on it when he calls them the donkey for being caught like that. Okay. Now, I just wanted y'all to know that that's why I'm doing this.
Hi, my sweetness. I will get around to you, but it's crowded.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Angela Yee, Charlemagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. We have a special guest in the building.
Absolutely.
Miss Monique.
Hey, my babies. Good morning.
Keep that energy, bro. Like you always say.
Good morning. Good morning, y'all. Now, when Monique walked in, I gave her a hug. I wanted her to know it's all love.
Yes, he did, my love.
Cause you know you be tripping.
That's all we're doing.
That's all. Now, what's going on today, Miss Monique?
Well, baby, first I want to say to Eddie, y'all producer, thanks for sharing the platform. And a while ago, when I came up with
that wasn't Eddie. That was us both.
Eddie lucky he here. All right?
Okay,
Remember, this commentary is only about her being Donkey Today and how she's trying to tell them how it affects her image. That's what I'm taking her side on.
Stand with us as we boycott Netflix for gender bias and color bias.
Correct.
And we were fighting for equality. And then I found out that I had become Donkey of the Day by Leonard. And I gotta call you by your name, baby, because Leonard. Okay, okay, baby.
So I paused it because he's showing that love. See how polite he's being. He's smiling and grinning. See, he knows he's a sensationalist. He thought he could be like Rude Jude from a distance. Y'all remember Rude Jude? He thought from a distance because he can always tell her, hell no, you can't come up here and speak your point of view because he has veto power, I'm sure. Just like they made it clear. That's why I paused it here. They just made it clear, like, don't think the other dude, think us. We the ones who got you up here. You ain't had nothing to do with it. But later on, you'll see him when she brings up a certain somebody that she was associated with. He'll be like, yeah, I'm associated with that person too. That's why you're up here. He talked me into it. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, this video is just to address our thirst to roast people because it's entertainment. That's the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? We just want to get all the shows. He shouldn't care that you do it. He should just report it. Like, it should have been Angela Yee's rumor report. And she said, yeah, Monique on that. And he should have said, I disagree with her, you know what I'm saying? And leave it at that. It's a whole nother animal when he makes it the donkey of the day with the vile and vicious nature that he can attack people with on that. For instance, I know most of y'all that are looking at this are people who have frequently watched Breakfast Club, because you probably wouldn't be caring about a video that's primarily about her interview on a Breakfast Club. Y'all probably know the infamous Birdman, put some respect on my name interview. 90% of the people, even people that initially there were celebrities that supported Birdman standards, they wound up coming on there like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, haha, I'm making fun of Birdman and stuff. Okay, it probably could have been handled better, but for those who never really liked watching interviews and probably never cared to watch some of the older ones, haven't heard all the things. I'm not talking about 2017, even really 2016. I'm talking about 2015, 14, when he was going in on Birdman. I'm talking about disrespectfully. You have to look it up. I'm not finna tell you right now because that's throwing off what we're trying to do here. Let's get back to this video. And as I press play, I think both sides are valid. Let me get that out ahead of time so I can let it roll. But both sides have good points. I'm not saying he doesn't have good points. He has excellent points. Angela Yee, Envy, they have excellent points. And some of the other people in public eye that have criticized her stance have excellent points. But she has an excellent point also. And these are just her and her discussing to him. She's here to tell him I didn't like the donkey today because it tarnishes my image and my credibility. Is more serious than just you reporting on it. You are tarnishing with a smile on your face and a glee. You're tarnishing my credibility. His argument, he doesn't get that. That's going over his head the whole time. For y'all that's supporting his side of it, it's going over his head because he's defensive of his ability to entertain. Because if he was like me, somebody who wanted to be fair and straight to the face, he'd be less entertaining, more boring. They would not be the number one radio urban show. So he's defending his right to entertain people. She she is calling out him tarnishing her, not him being able to use Donkey today, but to tarnish her on something that is. If she would have robbed the hamburger hut, yes, she would have let him got that Donkey today off. But by her doing something like standing for a strong belief she has in and just sharing it, that's where it was unwarranted for her to get that tarnished image from him. That's what he's not understanding.
He's getting real special, Leonard. But we're going okay,
Lin,
Lenard.
oh, it's Leonard.
Of the day, and it really caught me.
I'm weak.
Because when I met this brother some years ago, and I always go back to it because I met him in an elevator at Turner Station. And I met a young man that was full of humility and respect. And when I got on that elevator, he actually held the door. I remember like it was yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
And I said, "Oh, baby, thank you." And he was just like that. "Yes, ma'am." And "Miss Monique, it's a pleasure to meet you." And we had a very beautiful exchange. And I said to that brother, "Tell your mama that she raised you right."
That's a
And
fact.
he said it was my mama and my grandma.
Yes, ma'am.
So I felt like this was, and still is, a beautiful young brother making his way, but full of humility and respect. Till we fast forward, and I become donkey of the day. So I didn't want to have it to be hearsay. I didn't want to have anybody exchange words that I may have said to him. So my husband and I wanted to come on so we could understand how I got titled Donkey of the Day.
So why'd you give a donkey today, Charlamagne?
Well, I think it was due to the whole Netflix situation. You know, when I heard you say that, you wanted us to boycott because of racial and gender bias, then you went on to mention two brothers and a woman. So I said maybe she should be more specific and say black woman gender bias. But then also just from a business aspect, I wanted to know why did you feel like you should have gotten whatever Chris Rock got, whatever Dave Chappelle got, or whatever Amy Schumer got. Because I feel like this is a what are you doing for me right now type of industry.
Well, she didn't say what they got. She said
Thank you.
got more than she was offered.
And then Charlamagne, you brought up a
Thank you. And throughout the interview, this is gonna come up more and more where he still Hartman's talking him being Charlamagne. He still goes back to I don't know why you think you deserve to get what they got, which is a valid argument, and her responses are valid too. She keeps saying it's not what, just like Envy said, it's not that she needed the exact amount that the girl got, but you cannot give her 500 fucking racks. 500 racks, 500,000, and she is who she is. Now, if you would have came to her and said, you know what I'm saying, we give you 5 million, she might can work with that. Give you 6 million. We're not going any higher. We're gonna see how this first 6 million go. If you can be the headliner you say you are, then we'll go. She might can deal with that. They didn't even give her a million, let alone 5. They didn't even give her 1 million. They gave her 500,000, and she can make that in 6 months. And she know that they know she can do that. They disrespectful.
as well.
But that was later on. But my point was like, this is a what are you doing for me right now kind of industry. We all know Monique is a legend, but we also know that those deals that Netflix are giving out are based off recent stand-up shows, recent shows,
Right,
recent concerts,
right.
recent
Now after she
performances, things
explained
like
it,
that. So I just wanted to know why you felt like you deserved that much.
and after she answers, then I'm gonna
Daddy, would you like to
reiterate what
start, or
she's
would you
saying.
like for me?
Whichever you prefer. But, if we're going to go back to the conversation that we had with Robbie, it didn't start with the offer where the color bias and the disrespect transpired. It started from when we had our initial conversation after Monique got her reviews from the nights in which Benjamin and Caitlin, who were representatives for Netflix, came out to see Monique, in which on two different nights they